Hi, I'm Jason Munger. I'm a systems engineer here at Arctic Wolf. Our partners, Concise, have asked me to do a short video on a question to share with you, our audience. And the question is vulnerability management a loser's game? Well, before I talk about vulnerability management, let's think about cybersecurity and the budget and the limited budget that most organizations have. And where should you best spend that money? Should it be on vulnerability management or should it be somewhere else? I think there's a couple of other areas to think about before we talk about vulnerability management. The first is people, because to be effective in cybersecurity, you need people, process, and technology. You need all three working in unison together. In a recent report, a cybersecurity trend for 2022 report that Arctic Wolf did, we found that 44% of organizations have no staff that are primarily focused or even full-time dedicated to security. It's very much a shared responsibility model. And add to that, there's a growing skill shortage in cybersecurity. If we look in the US in last year, there were 700,000 unfilled jobs alone. And that's reflected in the UK market as well. Large organizations have a great advantage. They have the ability to be able to attract and to retain top talent. Whereas most organizations, most mid-sized organizations will struggle with getting cybersecurity resource in-house and actually keeping them in a role. I guess the other area you could consider is cybersecurity tools. Well, most people already have the cybersecurity tooling that they require, but perhaps not the people to manage those tools most effectively. If we look at our own platform, the amount of telemetry we bring in from tools that customers have, we bring in hundreds of millions of security observations every single week from their tools. And really, we're looking for the signal in the noise. So you need people to look at those tools, to understand the information that's coming out of them. You only have to look at the Irish Health Service and the ransomware attack that happened to them, where the Conti ransomware group were inside their organization, inside their network for 2 months, the dwell time that before they were actually detected and before they actually, executed the impact stage of the attack, which was ultimately encryption. So what about vulnerability management? Is that the right place to invest? Well, it's got to be a great place to start, you would think. It's the cornerstone to all cybersecurity frameworks. If you look at the NIST cybersecurity framework, it has the identify and protect as the first two functions within that framework. If you don't know what you have, how can you protect what you've got in your organization? You need to discover all your enterprise assets. You need to understand what software is running on those assets. And once you have that information, it's understanding what vulnerabilities exist in that software, what misconfigurations exist in that software. But where do you start protecting if you have a list of hundreds of vulnerabilities? And most organizations we talk to do have hundreds and hundreds of vulnerabilities. So some prioritization is required, based on the criticality of the vulnerability, of course, the criticality of the asset, how important is it to the business, and of course on threat intelligence as well. The average time to patch vulnerabilities is reducing, but we need to consider that new vulnerabilities are coming out every single day. Hackers are exploiting these new vulnerabilities within days of them being released, of them being known in the industry. And the time to patch is increasing with higher volumes of vulnerabilities or CVEs, more critical CVEs, and patching time is really increasing now to weeks. And so there's a gap between when vulnerabilities are known and when the patches are applied to close those gaps. So the other thing to think about is detection and response. We know that the speed to patch is too slow and 0 days still emerge. And so in many ways, you're fighting a losing battle when you're just looking at vulnerability management. We have to expect that a bad actor will somehow be successful in their attack and in infiltrating your network. And that's why the NIST cybersecurity framework, the next three functions after the identify and protect are the detect, respond, and recover functions. And these are based on the assumption that you can't protect everything, you can't patch everything in a timely fashion. And so therefore, somebody will get through and be able to exploit something in your environment and execute an attack on you. Well, surely you have the cybersecurity tools that you've invested in to protect you, right? Well, you do, but as discussed, they require effective operation, and that requires people, and it requires people to look at them 24/7 and respond, and know how to respond to the alerts that come out of those security tools. And most organizations don't have either the people or 24/7 capability. the average dwell time, the time to actually detect somebody inside a malicious actor inside your network, not even respond to it, just to detect them, is actually at 206 days. That means for most organizations, there's people inside the network and they're not even aware that they are there. This is where Arctic Wolf comes in. So we have a service called Managed Detection and Response. It's fully managed threat detection using the tools that you have already invested in. And critically, we provide unlimited response and guided remediation. So we'll detect within minutes and anybody in your network, but then provide unlimited expert guidance to contain that threat. And then more than contain, move on to help you with guided remediation. How do you remediate from that threat? In addition, underpinning our MDR service, our Managed Detection and Response service, is a concierge team who we align to every customer. And their role is to be proactive and strategic, to really work with you to continuously strengthen your defense and look for opportunities to improve your cybersecurity posture. So where would I invest first? Well, I guess if I had the choice, I'd invest across all 5 NIST cybersecurity functions: the identify, the protect, the detect, respond, and recover. But given you can't patch everything in a timely fashion, and given there will still be 0 days, and you haven't got an unlimited budget, our advice would be first to invest in the detection and the response, so that you can build resilience into your organization, into your business, so that you're confident that you know how to deal with a cybersecurity attack. Well, thanks for taking the time to listen. Again, I'm Jason Munger. I'm a systems engineer at Arctic Wolf.